Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praises unto Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Yahweh, which is the name of the Most High in the ancient Paleo-Hebrew, and Yahweh Shai, which is the name of the only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Now, real quick, I want to give a little disclaimer, and that is that the topics discussed in today's lesson are for one's edification regarding the Holy Scriptures and Hebrew culture, okay, and just science and human biology in general. Okay, what we are going to be exploring is pure fact. But with that being said, I'm not advocating that anybody goes out and, say, for example, sleeps with somebody under the arbitrary age of consent in the state or country they live in. Alright, so obey this age of consent in the country you live in, or state, okay? Don't watch this video and say, okay, well, I'm going to go out and disobey it. If you do, that's on you. I clearly said do not do so. Okay, I also want to give another warning as well. If we get into the topic of, say, for example, forced marriage, which we might not get into that today, but if we discuss it briefly, I'm not advocating anybody goes out and takes any woman by force. This is only for edification of what the Holy Scriptures teach. So pretty much, yeah, that's our warning. This is for one's edification only. You are not to disobey the age of consent in the state you live in, nor are you to take away a woman's right to refuse sex. Okay? So with that warning going out, now it cannot be said that, you got people out there who are just simple-minded, who say, well, see, this person said to go out and do this. Well, I clearly gave the warning right here, and I said do not go out and commit this action in this modern society. Okay, so I want to give that warning. If that being said, let's get into today's lesson. All right, so if you can see the name of this video, which fun fact, by the way, for those who are watching on video, I'm actually streaming this live right now on YouTube on a second device. So hey, shalom to whoever is watching on the live stream. We have, as always, we have open chat here. So if anybody wants, feel free to drop some scriptures or just questions in general into the live chat, and we will most certainly address whatever you guys bring up on there. But yeah, as you can tell by the name of either the stream or the video, whatever one you're watching on, the name of today's lesson is going to be Adulthood and the Myth of Adolescents. Okay, now I've spoken on this subject, both of these subjects before, but now it's the time to get right back into it again, to just go over it briefly. Now, ironically enough, the other day, there's actually a situation that was going on, which, let me say this, I was actually planning on doing this video last week, but I got put off a week because a situation came up. So it was ironic I had to wait to this week to do it, because over the past 3 days there's been an argument going on, which ironically enough actually revolves around the topic of today's discussion. So hey, that shows you, man, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai had me, wait a little while to get into the topic, because there was going to be more information and debates that would come out, which revolves around 1 Corinthians 7:36, the flower of her age debate. You got idiots on there talking about, that's talking about 18. That's talking about 18. Okay, well, where in the scriptures can you show me that's what it's talking about? And the answer is they can't do it, because that's not in the scriptures. Okay, you got dudes on there talking about, oh man, we don't even need to acknowledge Sakari, because those brothers, they're going off. But hey, they get an A for effort. They get an A for effort. Inside joke. I know the mind of God has mixed views about this whole bit. Well, I mean, yeah, it is true. This is in the scriptures, but that don't apply to today. Which let me say this, man. As I gave the warning at the beginning of this today's lesson, and we're not advocating to go out and do this in this modern society. We're not advocating to go out and do it today. But with that being said, the Bible clearly says, hey, all these laws, they still apply to today. So yes, the Most High, Yahweh Shem Shai, he still looks at these subjects and topics the same way he did, say, 1,000 years ago. Okay, Hebrews 13:8, for I, the Lord, was the same yesterday, today, and forever. Right, so Yahweh Shem Shai never changed his teachings. Okay? Now, real quick, because I don't know how long this lesson is going to be, but we're just going to go briefly into these subjects. But before I do so, I had a couple scriptures that were lined up to just basically set the mood of what we're talking about. Okay, so the first scripture I want to get is let's go ahead and go to the book of Matthew. Let's see, Matthew chapter 10 and verse go to 27. Right, these don't have to do with the topic of discussion, but I just wanted to read these couple scriptures first. Matthew chapter 10 and 27. What I tell you in darkness, that speak ye in light, and what ye hear in the ear, that preach ye upon the housetops. Right, let's read that again. Matthew chapter 10 and 27. What I tell you in darkness, that speak ye in light. What ye hear in the ear, that preach ye upon the housetops. Right, so we're not supposed to be, you got certain brothers out there, like when you deal with the topic of, which I already gave to the warning that I was going to mention it briefly, the topic of, as they call it, forced marriage. Okay, which if you do your research, right, just go on Wikipedia and look up the term bride kidnapping, and you're going to find out that this is still a modern custom in certain countries in the world, where a man will see a woman that is unmarried and unbetrothed, okay, meaning unengaged, and he'll take that woman by force. It happens, man. It does happen. It's no reason to get emotional about it. It's just real life. It is real life. All right, and the Bible clearly says certain things about the subject. Okay, but a lot of guys just get all, up in their feelings and emotions regarding the subject. Okay, because they don't really deal with what Yahweh Shem Shai teaches. Okay, they just go by what makes people feel good. Okay, like a good honorable mention would be the Sakari group. Okay, there's a video on there's a video on YouTube, which ironically enough, we are on YouTube. Currently recording this video. But anyway, with that being said, if you go up to the search bar on this website and look up the term LUIC versus GMS pedophiles, you'll find the video I'm talking about. Which I'm not even going to use the word again. But the funny thing about it, I guess we could say, is that the very word they use for pedophile, right, which I say that sarcastically, because the word pedophile actually means an adult attracted to children. But the word child, or the word children, means a person who is between birth to puberty. That's what the word child means by definition. And the word adult, by very definition, means a person who has hit sexual maturity. That's what the word means. Look it up. So, you see, those brothers want to sit there looking like them, looking like they got ligma, right? Thinking they're so intelligent. But, by very definition of the words you use, you clearly are disproven. I mean, come on, man. Hey, look, I haven't seen a sucker that soft since Banicula. Inside joke. Let me see. Let me just get my coffee real quick. This morning I got myself an iced coffee. So let me just go ahead and open that real quick. You might hear it pop. Yeah, warning for you headphone users. It wasn't that loud. As I said, hold on. Yeah, I'll get to the topic of discussion, but sometimes you just gotta, talk about certain things, that's going on before you get to the main meat of the lesson, so to speak. Okay? Plus, I'm also waiting on an Akium that actually wanted me to do the stream. I'm waiting for him to show up, which he should be here in a little bit because I said I was going live at 11. It's actually 10:52 right now, so I actually went live maybe 10 minutes before. But that's all right, it is what it is. Anyway, we'll read that scripture again, Matthew chapter 10 and 27. What I tell you in darkness, that speak ye in light, and what you hear in the ear, that preach ye upon the housetops. Right, so we're not supposed to be, afraid of what we teach, man. Okay, because what we're teaching is true. What we're teaching is in the scriptures. Okay, so we're not supposed to be like, offended. What about, what is that? Isn't that Matthew 11 and 6? And blessed is the man who is not offended in me. Now, wait a second. Why would the Lord say, blessed is the man who's not offended in me, if what he teaches is not offenseful? Okay? If it's not there to cause offense, or you know what I'm saying? Obviously, somebody's going to get offended at what Christ said. And if they don't, well, why would he make that statement then? What exactly does Jesus teach that is so, what's the word I'm looking for? That could stir up a debate, I guess one could say. Which I can think of plenty of things. I'm just asking that as a sarcastic question towards people who subscribe to Christianity. Shalom to standing in the comment board. Shalom. I don't know if you're a male or female, so I'll just say shalom. Let's see. It's actually going to get Jeremiah chapter 6 and verse, let's see. Jeremiah chapter 6 and verse 16. There we go. Thus says Yahweh, stand ye in the ways, and see and ask for the old paths. Where is the good way, and walk therein? And you shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. Right. And that's what our people are saying now, man. All right, which actually, let me go ahead and just highlight this real quick. For some reason, I have no idea why, but this verse was not highlighted in my my Bible I got right here. So just bear with me a second, then we'll read it again and give commentary. There we go. Jeremiah chapter 6 and verse 16. Thus says Yahweh, stand ye in the ways, and see and ask for the old paths. Where is the good way, and walk therein? And ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. Right. And, another thing as well, another aspect I guess one could say, when you look at, certain events and, stuff going on in the world right now, a lot of the things that are going on, if they were to just turn to the scriptures and abide by what the scriptures are saying, well then, that would actually make the world a much better place than what it actually is today. Okay? And it's just, it's ironic. Like, oh man, I'm not even going to get into that. We'll save that for another stream. I was actually, a fun fact, by the way, I was actually just watching a debate between Larkin Rose and another Status. All right, well, if anybody doesn't know who Larkin Rose is, just go on, well, we're already on YouTube, so just go up to the search bar and look up the name Larkin Rose. You'll see his YouTube page. Another thing as well, I got to watch a video from Larkin Rose, and he was just basically giving his thoughts on evolution. And it ends up turning out that he doesn't believe in evolution. He believes that, yes, that this, this world, or, this universe, I guess one could say, was created from a higher power. Now, as far as who it is, he said, well, I don't know who it is. I mean, I don't believe it's God of the Bible, but it could be. All right? He said he believes in some type of higher power, because, the place didn't just appear out of nowhere. But he don't subscribe to the scriptures, so to speak, which I can respect that. There's some people who are actually atheists who are worthy of respect. Hey, Shalom, free thinker 101. I was waiting for you to show up, my man. I was waiting for you to show up. We'll see. Literally just a couple minutes before 11. All right, so nice going right there. And no, you didn't miss much, by the way, because I really haven't even touched on the subject at hand. I'm just going over a couple things I want to speak about before I get into the teenage myth and adulthood. Okay. I think we might even need to address this real quick. One brother out there that goes by the name of the Loving Christian. Okay, which me and this brother, we go back a number of years, but I'm bringing him up now because the other day he did a stream. I was not able to watch the stream because I was actually hired to do some yard work, so I had to do that, the yard work, but I got a notification from it. And I believe he took the video down, if I'm not mistaken. It could still be up there, but I don't really got the time to sit there and watch a 3-hour video of him just going around in circles over the same topic. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect, of course. But anyway, dealing with the topic of confusion of faith Israelites, right? It's clear in the scriptures that you're going to have some people who look like certain groups and races of people who are actually going to receive salvation. Okay, you're going to have Israelites who look like white people. Okay, just like you're going to have Edomites who look like black people. It's very simple, man. All right, the scriptures tell you, what is that? I believe that's Daniel 9 and 7. Okay, it speaks about the confusion of faith. The confusion of faith are talking about the people who look like another group of people, but on their father's side of the family, through the seed line, it goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, or overall just a man from the one of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. Okay, but that's that's a side topic. We'll touch on that another time. Anyway, I think we'll move on to our topic of discussion. So, when do you a person become an adult? Well, the word adult, right, by definition, okay, because you see, if you want to if you want to have a discussion with somebody, right, you have to understand what the meaning of words mean, especially the words that you use to prove your belief. Okay, so for example, I got certain people out there say, oh yeah, well, ETT, Asha, he promotes pedophilia. And that's wickedness. That's wickedness. But wait a second, though. We don't promote pedophilia, though, because we don't teach to sleep with children. By very definition, may I also add, because we're not even talking about children. We're talking about young adults. Okay. So what do these words mean? Let's go over. Let's just do a quick breakdown of what these words mean. And if anybody disagrees, well, I mean, either you prove me wrong by giving information to support your statement, or you really can't say much. It's that simple. Scriptures tell you in the Apocrypha, for many have been deceived by their own vain thoughts and opinions. All right, anyway, you guys want to go on there, talk about, this person's such pedophile, such pervert. Okay, then, well, what does the word pedophile mean? The word pedophile, which I gave it out earlier, but I'll say it again. Right, said it once, but gotta say it again. Inside joke. Anyway, the word means an adult attracted to children, right? That's what the word pedophile means. So if you guys want to go out there, for example, and say that the apostles of GMS are pedophiles and perverts, right? Oh, like I quoted earlier, that one video from LUIC, right? The one entitled LUIC versus GMS pedophiles versus the Bible. Okay, now, as I said, man, those guys are phony baloney, man. Because how can you sit there and make such a foolish ass accusation without even knowing what the word even means itself? I mean, come on now, man. That's asinine right there. That's foolishness. Okay? So again, the word pedophile means a adult attracted to a child, right? Now the word child means a person who is in between birth to puberty. That's what the word child means by very definition. Okay? So if we're not talking about people who are in between birth to sexual maturity, how the hell can that count as pedophilia by very definition? And you see, usually they're not really smart enough to really make a comeback against such a response that you give them. Okay, they really can't say much about it. They can talk shit. Excuse my language, but the scriptures say, "Lo, I am rude in speech; I am not in knowledge." That's in the book of Corinthians. As I said, they really can't say shit against what we teach. You just can't do it. Okay, they can't really come against what we're teaching, man. Okay, starting with the apostles of GMS. The GMS don't got the whole truth. See, there he is. There's a there's a brother loving Christian. He said, "You debunk my video destroying confusion of faith if you got the balls." Inside joke. You ain't black. Real talk. Hey, look, my man. I'm happy you stopped by for today's discussion, my man. Maybe I'll take up your little challenge on that. Maybe I'll take up your challenge, man. All right, but no, just do me a favor. Leave the video up for me, and maybe I'll take on your challenge. Okay, but hey, I'm happy you stopped by, man. I'm happy you stopped by. All I'm waiting for now is Andrew Ashby to stop by. And we all know that'd be a dream come true right there to smash that brother on live TV, man, or live stream to absolutely give that brother a damn spiritual KO, man. He don't know much, man. As I said, if he comes up against us, he'll get smashed, man. Well, I shouldn't say us because we don't teach the same thing. I should say me would be a better word. He said, "Why won't you? Because it's the truth." Hey, look, man. Maybe I'll get on your video and do a response to it. But right now, I'm not really touching on that subject. All right? Hence the name of the video. But I did mention it earlier, though. So I will say that. I respect that you came and stopped by. Let's see. So yeah, now we got the definition of those two words. What does the word puberty mean? Okay, the word puberty, by very definition, and anybody who disagrees, you can just look this up online. The word actually means adulthood, manhood, maturity. Okay, you got something in this society that they call the age of maturity, which is when somebody becomes an adult, according to them. But again, the word puberty even means age of maturity. Look it up. That's what the word means. Okay, so how could we be promoting pedophilia and unrighteousness if by very definition that is not what we're talking about? So you see, you foolish ass Christians out there think you know so much, but you guys don't even know what the words mean. All right, I mean, come on, man. This is foolishness right here, man. This is like, come on. I mean, it's so simple, man. All right, let's see. Oh, the word adult. I gave it out earlier, and I'll give it again. The definition of the word adult, if you look it up online, it means a person who has hit puberty. Matter of fact, let me see if I have it. Oh, there it is. Let me just reach under the... Oh, actually, you know what? I wanted to mention that the other day I was actually finishing reading the novel It by Stephen King. all right, or Stephen King, however you'd like to pronounce the man's name. Okay, so I just finished the It novel, and I've seen both the movies, and this is just a side topic, don't really have anything to do with what we're speaking of. Um, but anyway, I finished the book, and I'll say for anybody who was considering reading that book, it's a very good book. It is a very good book. I give it a 9 out of 10. I'd say it's a must read fiction book. All right, because sometimes, man, just reading something, really boosts your intelligence, even by reading fiction. Okay, you can, by reading something you like to read, right? You can boost your, they call it speed reading. You can boost the speed that you read at. Okay, which is always helpful. For example, you might be able to read the whole Bible in 4 months, maybe, which is actually a good feat. Okay, if you can accomplish it. There's actually a dude out there I used to know who actually read the whole the scriptures, inside joke, who could read the whole book in 5 weeks, which I finished the Stephen King book in about oh man, I want to say 4.5 weeks. 4.5 weeks is what I finished it, and actually the book is just a little bit bigger than the Bible. I would say if we add the Apocrypha in there, the Bible would be just a tad bigger than Stephen King's It. All right, but once again, very good book. Recommend you walk him. Read that just for non-fiction, or I should say for fiction, you know, readings, so to speak. Let's see. But anyway, that's a side note. We'll move on. I have it right here in front of me. I found this dictionary the other day when I was at a, I guess one could call it a yard sale store, right? I was looking through one of the boxes, books they had, and I found this Webster's Dictionary. Now, what I did is I just did a little bit of simple research, right? In this book, and I looked up the word adult. I want to get this real quick. Bear with me, because it's I got to flip through the pages. You see. Okay. I got the word adults in the Webster's Basic Dictionary. The word adult means a grown-up, mature, grown-up person, late adolescence, adult, grown. Now, let's look up the word, let's see if I can find the word adolescence. You might have to bear with me a minute, because this might take a little bit. As I said, just bear with me. Okay, I got the word adolescence in the Webster's Basic Dictionary. It says adolescence, a growing into manhood, not fully adult, youth, adolescence, late adolescence, grown up. All right, now, as I said, sometimes this book goes off, okay, because you gotta take the meat and the bones, okay. But even if you go on Google, right, and you look up the word adolescence, right, or let's say, for example, you look up the word adult, okay, they'll tell you that the word adult means somebody who's fully grown, okay, who is developed, mature, okay, and then if you look up the word adolescence in certain textbooks, as I just did, they'll even tell you, adolescence is adulthood, okay. I don't even know. Let's see, do they got the word, let me see if I can find that real quick. This might take a couple minutes to find. It's all for edification. Okay. Okay. I'm still here. I'm still alive. I'm just looking for the what I'm looking for here. Lot to flip through. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Okay, should be on this page. Okay. I got the word puberty here. It means sexually mature, grown. Okay, so they tell you by very definition of what these words mean, they contradict themselves. Okay? Telling you, well, an adult isn't a person that until they become this certain number, then they're considered to be an adult. But if they're a day before, oh, that's some type of like pedophilia, right? Like, you know, these dogs out here want to talk about, you know, these men in this society, which again, I'm not saying to go out there and do this, but according to the Bible, if it says that you can do something, who am I to tell you you can't do something? So if a brother goes out and does this action in the society today, you really can't say shit about it because the Bible says it can be done. Okay, so who are you to take away from the words of the book? What is that? Revelation 22 and 18. Okay, which we're going to end this stream off with that scripture. So we'll get that a little bit later on. Okay. So, for example, if someone goes out in the society and, say, for example, kills a homosexual, well, according to the scriptures, you got to let that man do it. You can't say anything to that man. Okay, now it doesn't mean that we're teaching to go out and do it, but, you know, if someone does it, well, hey, you can't say that he went off because the Bible says you can do it. So you're just taken away from the book then. So you're in violation of Revelation, the 22nd chapter. All right, anyway. We're already almost 40 minutes into this video here, and yeah, about 40 minutes into the stream as well. So we'll get right into the topic of today's discussion about adulthood. Now, let's go to the scriptures. I want to show something real quick. Okay, because you got certain guys out there, man, who talk about that you ain't an adult until you are 20 years old. Okay, now I'm going to show you why they believe this teaching, but then I'm also going to disprove this teaching before getting into my own take on it, with giving my own understanding. I'm just going to prove in the scriptures where this teaching is incorrect, with, ironically enough, the very same book that they use to prove it, okay, as in one of the books of the Bible. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Okay. The book of Numbers, chapter 1. Okay. The book of Numbers, chapter 1 and verse 3. From 20 years old and upward, all that are able to go forth to war in Israel, thou and Aaron, Salakia, sometimes it stutter, it is what it is, shall number them by their armies. Let's read it again. The book of Numbers, chapter 1 and verse 3. From 20 years old and upward, all that are able to go forth to war in Israel, thou and Aaron shall number them by their armies. I'm also going to get on the same page here, there's another passage that says it. Numbers chapter 1 and verse 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward, by their polls. Okay, now somebody will read this and act carnal and say, well, see, that proves that according to the Bible, that you don't become a man until you're 20 years old. And off face value, somebody could say, oh, okay, well, look, that clearly can't be disproven. How could Yasha come against that teaching? Okay, then, well, I want to show you something real quick. It's still in the book of Numbers. Keep in mind, I said earlier, I gave a little hint. I said we're going to disprove them by the same book. Loving Christian, I'll answer that question in just a second. I see you. Hey, my eye caught it at the... my eye sees it in the corner up there. But I'm looking down at the Bible right now, so I'll go ahead and get you in a second. Let's see, I just want to get this real quick. Okay. I'm going to disprove that teaching. Alright, so remember, Numbers chapter 1, they use verse 3 and verse 18 to show, okay, well, you ain't an adult until you're this number. Okay, then, so my question would be, it's this, Numbers chapter 8 and verse 24. This is it that belongeth unto the Levites, from 20 and 5 years old and upward. They shall go in to wait upon the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. Let's read that again. Numbers chapter 8 and verse 24. This is it that belongeth unto the Levites, from 20 and 5 years old and upward. They shall go in to wait upon the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. So wait a second now. You have a restriction of a certain office until somebody is 25 years old. So could I now say that you ain't an adult till you're 25 years old, going off of their statements? Come on, man. You see, hey, these brothers are acting like phony baloney now, man. Damn clown, man. How could you sit there and tell me that a dude that's 19 isn't yet a man? Right? Even Esau knows that a person that's 19 years old is an adult. Even he knows that. Okay? Which, hey, this man... this man out here be trying to, you've seen some of these Edomites out here. You got one dude out there trying to sleep with his car, right? You got one Edomite woman out there who drinks her dog's urine. Okay, even it mentions this in the book of, I believe it's Job, the 30th chapter. I could be mistaken. But it mentions, hey, they were the basis of men. Okay, the most vile. Job said, I wouldn't even want my dog to sit around one of these people. You know why that is? Because a lot of them, which I'm not saying all, because you got a lot of Edomites who are straight, but you got some who actually might want to sleep with that dog. I mean, it's just a fact. Anyway, let me go ahead and hit the comment board real quick. Preaching for Yah, or his real name is Loving Christian. He said, by the way, you say don't go out and do this, and then say obey the laws of the government. Then you say don't obey the government. LOL. Well, you see, you don't understand what I was saying. You see, it sounds like a contradiction, but it's not. I simply said that, let's say, for example, because you got certain individuals out there who say, oh, Romans 13, obey the government, obey the government. Well, if you read that chapter, right, it uses the word minister. It says that this is a minister of good and not evil. How in all goddamn hell can you tell me that's talking about the United States government? You're a damn fool. Anybody who says such foolishness should be put to death according to the Holy Bible. All right, anybody who says such a blasphemy should be put to death. Thus says the Bible. Okay? And yes, GMS are in violation of that scripture. I do agree with that. Now, let's put it this way. So now that we've proven the Bible does not say to obey the wicked, let's say this. The reason I gave that, I gave a little bit of a disclaimer at the beginning of this video and said that I'm not teaching to go out and disobey what they're teaching, because if you do, you're going to go to jail. You understand? For example, if I don't pay my taxes, they're going to lock me ass up. Go ahead and ask Larkin Rose. He'll tell you, man, he had first-hand experience. Inside joke. But But anyway, with that being said, we're not teaching to just, go out, oh, well, yeah, the Bible says to kill a homosexual. Does that now mean you're going to go out and do it? No, because if you do, then you're going to go to jail. So it calls for wisdom, man. It calls for wisdom. Now, let me ask you this, loving Christian, because I know you listen to me. Let me ask you this. If somebody watches your video, right, and they hear you say that, yeah, according to the Bible, it does say that a homosexual should be put to death. Now, let's say they watch your video and they get that information from your video. Now, if they go out and kill that homosexual, could they now, when the police catch up to them, could they now say, well, this guy on YouTube, Loving Christian, told me to go out and do it? How would you respond to that, man? I really want to hear that. I'm very intrigued, I guess I could say, on hearing your response to that. So please go ahead and post there your response to that question. Go ahead and play it back if you need to. Then he said, so in Bible's eyes, you should not be obeying the age of consent, yet you said obey it. Okay, well, the way we're going to handle this is very simple. The Bible clearly says that you can have sex when you hit puberty, okay? And the Bible says that a man can sleep with a woman when she hits her first menstrual cycle. So if you go out and do that, that's on you. You can do it according to the Bible. So I can't sit here and say, oh, well, you went off for doing that. No, I can't say that because the Bible says that you can do it. So whatever the law of the Bible is, it still stands to this day. Jesus said, for I did not come to destroy the law. Okay, I didn't come to destroy the law. All the law still stays the same. For example, I quoted a scripture earlier, Hebrews 13:8, for I, the Lord, was the same yesterday, today, and forever. So again, if somebody goes out and does that action today, it can't be said that I told them to go do it. Well, that being said, they can do it according to the Bible. So I can't say shit, excuse my language, but I cannot say damn shit against that person because what they're teaching, or not what they're teaching, what they did, their action, is supported in the Holy Book. Okay, so yes, scriptures do teach to disobey the wicked. Okay, but scriptures also say all things are lawful, but all things are not expedient. So it's not a expedient thing to do, but it is lawful to do, meaning you can do it. Okay. But once again, if someone goes out and does it and blames it on me, well, they can't, that statement can't float. It cannot float. All right, because I clearly said don't go out and do it in a society because you might get in trouble. All right, that doesn't mean that, I'm on the government side. No, they're the damn devil demon. Well, that being said, I'm not teaching to obey their wickedness either. They should be exposed for their evil, such as what we're doing right now. Okay, so that answers that question right there. Okay. Then he says, Bible says not to obey any law of government, and it's not my words. It's in the Bible. If he was to do that, it would be lawful. Okay, good. We came to an agreement. I agree with you that, for example, let's say someone watches my video, right? We'll say the same analogy about myself. If someone watches me say Leviticus 20:13, and they go out and do the action in this society, am I with that? Hey, if it is in the Bible, so they can do it. But they can't turn around and say, oh, well, Yasha told me to go do it. I never said to go do it. I simply said that it is lawful to do according to the Bible. So, my man, we came to an agreement on that subject. Okay, so I don't understand what the problem is. Oh, you got to go to damn Rich Speaks and talk about that, man. That dude is, he don't know much, man. Damn clown. Which I respect that brother, though. I respect Rich Speaks, but he don't know too much. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, so I've proven in the book of Numbers that does not make you an adult when you're 20 years old. All right, anyway, I want to show something else. I want to give a great example in the New Testament with our Lord, Yahushua, and where he became a man when he was 12 years old. Okay? Let's see, Luke chapter 2. Let's see. We don't need to get the whole thing here. Actually, you know what? Why not? And yeah, just got a statement here from Levitt Christian. He said the real age of consent is not age. I absolutely agree with that. We just used age of consent, but the real age of consent is sexual maturity. It's not a number. You can't put a number on it. But we just use that term because that's what people understand it as, if you understand what I'm saying. All right. Anyway, Luke chapter 2 and we'll start at verse 40 and we'll read down to verse 49. This is Jesus here. Okay. This is who people call God. Okay. Luke chapter 2 and 40. And the child grew and waxed strong in spirit, filled with wisdom, and the grace of Yahweh was upon him. Now his parents went to Jerusalem every year at the feast of the Passover. And when he was 12 years old, I want you to remember that, 12 years old, they went up to Jerusalem after the custom of the feast. And when they had fulfilled the days, as they returned, the child Yahushua traveled behind in Jerusalem. Now I want to stop right there because the word child, they added that in there. That wasn't in the original text. Okay? They added that in there to cause confusion. Okay, so somebody's going to be slick and try to say, well, it uses the word child. Yeah, hey, you're right, loving Christian. People still can't accept that the Lord, is racist. I mean, it clearly is in the scriptures. The scriptures tell you that in the book of Exodus, right, the Lord put a difference between the Egyptian and the Israelite. Now, wait a second, though. Is that not racism? The Lord put a difference between one person and another person because of their races. Okay, because, well, this person's an Egyptian, this person's a Israelite. So there's a difference between them. Hey, God did it. He did it. So, I mean, hey, that brother's the loving Christian. Hey, he's on point with that. He's on point. And that's good. Anyway, and Joseph and his mother knew not of it. But they, supposing him to have been in their company, went a day's journey. And they sought him among their kinsfolk and acquaintance. And when they found him not, they turned back again to Jerusalem, seeking him. And it came to pass that after 3 days they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of doctors, both hearing them and asking them questions. And all that heard him were astonished at his understanding and answers. And when they saw him, they were amazed. And his mother said unto him, Son, why hast thou dealt this way with us? Behold, thy father... thy father... That goes into that virgin birth topic, but we're not going to get into that. Just a little side note there. It says, And I have sought thee sorrowing. And he said unto them, How is it that ye saw me? Wouldn't ye not that I must be about my Father's business? Right, so Jesus, right, who they call Jesus, with his real name Yahushua, he became a man when he was 12 years old. Right, I mean, this is just plain information in the scriptures. Okay, and if he was not a man, let me ask this question. For anybody out there who says that when Christ was 12 years old, if he was not a man, all right, if you believe he was not a man, he was still a child, well, was he not in violation of the law then? Because the law says, children, obey your parents. So you either have to say that, yeah, Jesus was an adult at that age, or you have to say that he broke the commandment. Which, wait a second, Jesus was a perfect and upright man. He broke none of the commandments. Okay, so how do you get around that for those guys who disagree with my teaching? That he said, he means God, not Joseph, LOL. Don't understand what you're bringing up there. Maybe I made a statement, maybe I don't remember, but I'll just skip past that. And I wanted to say shalom to the new listeners who might be listening in on today's podcast. Let me just go ahead and get a swig of my my drink right here. Okay, I want to mention real quick that a loving Christian's comment. I understand what he was saying, because it said about his father, right? Now, I agree that Jesus was speaking about his father as in God, right? As in the Most High. But Mary said, "Thy father and I." Now, thy father in that context was talking about Joseph. All right. So Mary saying thy father, that father was talking about Joseph. But when Jesus said my father, that father is talking about the heavenly Father. Okay. So we'll make that distinction, I guess one could say. Okay, so I think we can come to an agreement on that. Let me read the comment real quick. He said, when he said him and his father, he meant his father God. Okay, I think we came to an agreement. Yeah, we agree on that. Okay, good. Let's see. Alright, so now we handled in the Bible when a person becomes an adult. You see, in this society, you have, what they'll tell you is, you have two things. You have an age of maturity, and then you have something called the age of consent. Okay, which these things are not the same thing. Okay, which let me say this: all of this is falsehood and is bullshit. Excuse my language, but hey, as I said earlier, scriptures tell you, though I am rude in speech, I'm not in knowledge. Okay, it's all nonsense, is what it is. Okay, what they'll do is tell you, okay, well, you can have sex at this age, but yet you're not an adult, so basically you're a child, but you're still going through an act that could, if you don't use protection, might actually end up in the birth of an actual child. So wait a second, though. Wait a second. So you're telling me that two children can do an act that might make a child? So what you're telling me is, and I'm not saying this to anyone on the comment board. I'm just being sarcastic. When I say you, I'm referring to, hey, maybe somebody who's watching this recording who believes this. More than likely someone is. So I suppose this you could apply to them. So you're telling me that two children can come together and make another child? I mean, how does that make logical sense? That's foolishness right there. Pure foolishness. Two people who are sexually mature are not children, okay? It's a damn fact by definition of what the word even means. So I mean, come on now. Anybody who disagrees just doesn't know much, okay? Let's see. Let's deal with the whole age of consent issue, okay? But before I do that, I want to get something real quick, okay? As you see, we deal with all subjects of the scriptures, man. We don't get emotional at these subjects, okay? Because whatever the scriptures say, at the end of the day, it's the end-all be-all, okay? So if anyone disagrees, well, hey, you go back to the scriptures. You go back to the scriptures. As Elder Apostle Har told that brother out there, what was his name? Yeah, Brother Polite. We go back to the scriptures. We go back to the scriptures. Always love that little statement. That is true. We go back to the scriptures to understand the subjects of discussion. Okay? Let's see. Let's go to the book of Psalms, the 27th chapter real quick. Let's see. Psalms 27. Okay. This is the book of Psalms 127 and verse 2. You know what? Actually, yeah, let's start at verse 2. It is a vain thing for you to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrow, for so he give his beloved sleep. Though children are an heritage of Yahweh, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. As arrows are in the hand of a mighty man, so are children of the youth. Let's read those two verses again. We'll start at verse 3. Though children are an heritage of Yahweh, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. As arrows are in the hand of a mighty man, so are the children of the youth. Wait a second, it says the children of the youth. Now what does the word youth mean? The word youth means just means young. Okay? So right here in the scriptures, which actually let me go ahead and read a couple comments here because I got a couple new ones. Actually 3 new ones to be exact. I'll go ahead and get Loving Christian first. He said, it's funny though, why does a so-called child get sexual faults if they're not ready to have sex? My cousin was sexually active at a really young age. Exactly. Why would, think about this logically for a second. If you are not meant to have sex at, say, for example, maybe 13, 14 years old, right? Why does your body have the ability to perform that action? Why would one's mind want to do this action that they're not ready to do? They make it sound like the Most High made a mistake. Especially those guys that talk about, well, I mean, yeah, I agree that, some point in history that happened. But that's pedophilic today. That's like, oh, that's such wickedness today. Which again, a lot of people look down upon, that stuff. But, the point of the matter is this still happens in many places of the world today. There's many places in the world where they still follow the customs of the Bible. Not saying that they're holy or anything. But with that being said, they still follow certain customs of the Holy Scriptures. Okay, which is a good thing. Okay, the Scriptures tell you that in the kingdom, all nations are going to serve the Lord. Okay, so in the kingdom, all nations are going to have these laws written. We're going to have the laws written in our inward parts. With that being said, these nations are going to be forced to obey these laws. And one of those laws is going to be that when a female gets her first menstrual cycle, she can be married. And you better believe it, we're going to be taking advantage of that. Hey, I already put dibs on Beverly Marsh, man. Shout out to anybody who knows who that is. Hey, the scriptures tell you the Lord shall give you the desires of your heart. The scriptures tell you Isaiah 4:1 that in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man. Yeah, in that day, hey, that's the reward, man. That's part of that reward. Anyway, let's go ahead and read some more comments. You got the brother on here, Freethinker 101, which is F the System. His username on Hangouts. Said, there are actual people out there that believe children can give birth to children. How does that make sense? Exactly, just like I said, man. How the hell does that make any damn sense? So if you're a child, right, you can sleep with another child, that makes a third child. Come on now. That's foolishness right there. That makes no logical sense. Yeah, man, an endless flow of comments. Let's see. Okay. Said, and also it's funny, the government will let 2 so-called kids have sex and have a baby, yet if a man did it, that's wicked. Exactly. What is the difference, for example, let's say this, what is the difference between a 15-year-old lady, right? Woman we'll call her, because that's what she is, laying with a dude that let's say is 20, and then let's say another guy which is 25. What is the difference? The only difference is that one's older than the other. That's all the difference is. I mean, come on now. And even if, let's say, she sleeps with another guy who's 15, right, the same age as her. What is the difference between those 3 guys? It's just that they all were born separate dates. Okay, some before each other, some after each other. That's it. There's no other difference. None, zero, nada. Inside joke. There is no damn difference. All right, no damn difference. Let's see. Loving Christian said, in British medieval times, they would marry at a young age. My bloodline goes back to that era. Yeah, exactly. And really here in America, right, if you do your research, even back in the 1930s, it was still common for a man in America to marry a woman who was, say, 14. It was common. You can just look it up. Okay, for any naysayers out there. It was just common. Okay, so hey, back then America was actually, in some way, shape, and form, was obeying some type of scriptures. Not that it was actually holy or anything for what they did to the children of Israel. That's a major sin right there. You can't come back from that. Scriptures tell you that the land should be quenched because of the blood that was slain on it. Okay, so no amount of praying can put that off. Okay, but that's another topic. We're not going to get into that. We'll stay on this topic of the stream. Anyway, let's see. There was another verse I wanted to get. It was in the book of Ecclesiastes. Let me see. You know what? I'm actually going to look it up online. It'll be easier to find the book of Ecclesiastes instead of just, flipping the pages. Let's see. Bear with me a second. Okay. Ecclesiastes chapter 11 and verse 10. Therefore remove sorrow from thy heart, and put away evil from thy flesh. Oh, listen here. For childhood and youth are vanity. Let's read that again. Ecclesiastes chapter 11 and verse 10. Therefore remove sorrow from thy heart, and put away evil from thy flesh, for childhood and youth are vanity. Wait a second, it says childhood, and then it puts a difference between youth. It says childhood and, as in two separate subjects, and youth. Okay? Very simple, man. Very, very simple. There is a clear, said, you seen any UFOs since? I haven't seen any UFOs in the sky, man. Now, with that being said, you always see those flashing lights in the night sky, man. So a lot of those might actually be chariots. So I'll say that, yeah, it could be a possibility that, one of those or many of those might have been a chariot. Okay? And I remember, a year ago, man, me and you both, we stayed up around maybe 3, 4 in the morning. You live over in, I believe, England, right? Or Britain. Pretty much the same thing. He said, I seen 4 of them, just need to upload the video. Okay, good. I'll be on the lookout for that video. But yeah, man, as I said, we're in some spiritual times, man. All right, these UFOs, these elite know that the UFOs are the chariots of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. And actually, I bought a book the other day when I was at, I guess one could call it the flea market. I don't know how good of a book this is going to be, but I picked it up for like $2. It's called The UFO Conspiracy. Basically, just a bunch of incidents regarding these unidentified flying objects. Okay, so I'm gonna give this a good read. It's supposed to be a non-fiction book based on true stories. So I flipped through it before I bought it, and it looks, could have some good information in here. You got to take the meat and leave the bones. But, I'm going to go ahead and give that a read over the next couple weeks. Also picked up a book over here. Let me grab it. And this is just a side note. This really ain't important. I also brought, for $1, I brought the Treasure Island. If any of you ever read that book before, you can comment down below. I'm going to give that a read as well. Let's go ahead and hit the comment board real quick, because I see there's another flood of them coming in. Loving Christian said, and the reason I deleted that debate is because I admit I was wrong on most of what I would teach. Okay, good. And hey, listen, my brother, Loving Christian, even though we go at each other's necks sometimes, man, I still respect you, man. All right, I truly do believe that you are sincere. Okay, I always said that. Okay, I do believe that you truly are sincere, because listen here, man, it does take a real man to admit that he was wrong. For example, I admit that I was wrong, saying GMS knew it all. They do not know all the scriptures. GMS does not know the whole truth. Now, that being said, I'd be a damn fool to pretend that GMS don't got the truth. But just because they got the truth, it doesn't mean they know the whole truth. Okay, you can have some people out there who know something about something, but then on everything else they're going off. Okay? You're going to have people out there who know some things on one subject, and you're going to have another guy who knows a lot on this subject, and that guy on that subject, and so on and so on. You're never going to have somebody who just knows it all. Okay? We don't know it all. Okay? For example, somebody asked Jesus in the Bible, well, when are you going to return? Jesus said, hey, look, I don't know. I don't know when I'm going to return. So Jesus didn't even know everything. Okay? In that form. Okay? Anyway, let me go ahead and hit this comment board real quick. Freethinker 101 said, yeah, people always talk about they think so-called teens are incapable raising a family and functioning as adults, yet when they realize, what they don't realize is that the majority of their ancestors did just that. Yeah, for example, let's deal with this. Okay, you guys that got guys, or let me rephrase myself, man. Sometimes I stutter, right? Hey, be sounding like them stuttering Bill from the It novel. Inside joke. Anyway, you got guys out there who want to talk shit to us, but yet they don't even know their own history. I wanted to mention to the dude in the comment board who he came and talked shit to us. But wait a second, brother. It's like if you just do your research, right? If you go back, let's say maybe 50 years ago, 60 years ago, here in America, even, it's probably even going further back from that. If we were to say your great grandparents, if not them, then their parents married when they were 12 or 13. It's just a fact. Almost all of them, man. Okay? So yeah, if not your grandparents' parents, then their parents. Okay? That's what it was. It was just common. Okay? And another thing as well. If I'm not mistaken, George Washington actually was dating a 12-year-old girl when he was, well up in age, man. Okay? Well up in age. So how would you Americans handle that? Is George Washington a pedophile, or what about can't forget this. What about Elvis Presley? Okay, Elvis. If you do your research, Elvis actually got with a woman. I don't know if he married her when she was 14, but they were in a relationship when she was 14. Okay, so Elvis, I believe, was in his late 20s, early 30s. But hey, is he a pedophile? Is the king of rock a pedophile? Come on. Another example, Joseph and Mary. Joseph was very old. Mary was very young. Okay, another good example. What about King David? Read 1 Kings 1 and 1. You know what? Let's even go ahead and get that. Why don't we? Let's even go ahead and get that. Okay? Look, I already can see it. I can already see it. As soon as this stream is uploaded, sooner or later, give it a day's time, you're going to have trolls come in the comment board who just say, shit that they don't even know the answers to, right? So I asked the guys out there, right, if we're wrong with what we teach, well, what is the answer? And then it's always the same thing. Well, I don't know, but I know you're wrong. Come on now. How stupid can you be? Anyway, this is the book of 1 Kings 1 and 1. It says, Now King David was old and stricken in years, and they covered him with clothes, but he got no heat. Therefore his servant said unto him, Let there be sought for my lord, the king, a young virgin, and let her stand before the king, and let her cherish him, and let him lie, let her lie in thy bosom, that my lord, the king, may get heat. So they sought for a fair damsel throughout all the coast of Israel, and found Abishag, a Shumanite, and brought her to the king. And the damsel was very fair, and cherished the king, and ministered unto him. But the king knew her not. Now, why did the king not know her? As in, he didn't sleep with her. It wasn't because she was too young. The reason why is he was on his deathbed. Okay, he couldn't get it up anymore. Okay, he had, you got something now, going into the whole, porn industry and stuff. Other reasons, of course. But, you got something called a erectile dysfunction. Okay, where the reason I mentioned the porn industry is if you watch too many videos and do stuff, well, I guess I'll leave it at that. You know what I'm saying? But if you do that for too long, for too many years, well, when you actually lay with a real woman, you might not even know what your private area might not even know how to react to it because it's used to just your hand, for lack of better words. So it might have an issue. So you might have to get some type of pills. They call it erectile dysfunction. Okay? So that's what basically King David had. Or, pretty much he was on his deathbed. He really couldn't get it up anymore. Okay, that's what that's talking about. Because guys like to use it and say, well, see, she wasn't old enough. So that's why he didn't sleep with her. Come on, that's foolishness. Let me go ahead and read some comments. Freethinker 101, Elvis met her at 14, married her in her early 20s, I believe. That could be so. I really don't do research on that, but I know that he did meet her when she was 14. That proves, hey, was he a pedophile? Come on. It's foolishness right there. Let's see. Levin Christian, I agree, GMS teach some, but they also mix lies. As I said, man, you got to take the meat and leave the bones. As I said, the apostles of GMS are the real men of the Lord. That's true. I mean, it's evident. I mean, Elder Apostle Dahara is worthy of respect. But with that being said, he don't know everything, though. But with that being said, I still respect the man for being a very intelligent man. All right, for knowing much information. But he doesn't know it all. Okay, but I can have great respect for the great millstone for being, I would say GMS is by far the top Israelite group on the earth. There is no Israelite group who can really go into the scriptures like GMS does. So I'd be a damn fool to say that that's false. GMS clearly knows stuff, but they don't know everything. Okay, I think that's just an easy and polite way to put it. You know what I'm saying? Like even the other day, just yesterday, I had a conversation in a comment board with Elder Apostle Gabar. All right, and I was just being sarcastic, saying, oh, I know more than 50% of you GMS guys, and he took offense to that. But he's going off. He thinks, I'm not even gonna bring that topic up. We'll just skip over that. But yeah, man, as I said, I respect a man as being a very intelligent man, and he knows much. But with that being said, the scriptures also say great men are not always wise. So yeah, he doesn't know. He doesn't always know everything. He doesn't always know everything. Okay, sometimes they go off, and that goes for all of us. Okay, we all got something we might teach that ends up might actually being wrong. Okay, it just time will tell. Time will tell. That's just the way we gotta look at it. Let's see. 11 Christian said, I haven't eaten pork for over 4 years now. Okay, that's good. That's good. I haven't ate pork in, let's say, I haven't deliberately eaten pork in about 10 years. And that's an understatement. It might be longer than that. But with that being said, let me say this. And a lot of the things we eat, such as, let's say, for example, I used to eat a lot of Jack Link's beef jerky, right? Now, after I spent $75 on it, right, and I ate that over the course of a couple months, and then on literally the last stick, I was like, okay, well, let's look at the ingredients in this. Because I always thought, who would think that there's pork in beef jerky? It's literally called beef jerky, not pork jerky, which they got that as well. Right, just like, oh, man, I bought myself, when I was at Gatorland, right down here in Florida, man, you have something called Gatorland. Good place. Maybe if you guys ever come down here, you might want to play that place a visit. I've been there a couple of times before. I bought myself they call it a Gator jerky stick. All right, now I didn't look at the back of the stick because I thought, okay, well, it's called Gator jerky stick. So who would think that if you look on the back of it, it has chicken, it has pork, it has gator, it has turtle. It's like the scriptures even tell you, man, not to mix meats like that. That's even in the scriptures. Okay, so I don't even know, man. But hey, to the best of our ability is what we're supposed to do, man. Okay, so I can respect that. To the best of our ability. Because sometimes we're going to eat things that we don't know have pork in it. Let me give an example. When I went to Popeye's Chicken, right, I got myself a box, I believe it was a $10 chicken box is what they call it. And ended up eating that. And then there ended up being, I kid you not, there's a grilled shrimp in there. Now, I didn't know that it was a shrimp because it was fried like the chicken. So, sometimes when they put the chicken in there, it has, little crumbs and stuff next to it, the little chickens. So I ate it, but then only after I ate it, I ended up seeing that, that was a shrimp right there. Now, the Lord's not going to hold that against me because I did not deliberately eat the shrimp. I didn't know that it was that. So the Lord isn't going to hold these things against us because we didn't know that it was in there. Okay, the scriptures say we should eat our food defiled among the heathen. That doesn't mean, go ahead and eat ham, pork, crawfish. Doesn't mean to go and deliberately do that. But if it happens by accident, such as it might be just an ingredient in something you ate that you didn't know it was there, well, hey, the Lord's not going to hold that against you. Okay? Say, for example, when you do the Passover, right? One thing we're supposed to do is take, for 7 days, we're supposed to take all food that has lemon in it out of our houses. A lot of us can't do that because we either live with another human being. Some of us are in college where we got, dorms, living with other people. Some of us just can't do it because we got other family members who eat that food. But the Lord's not going to hold it against us right now. Why? Because we're not deliberately just ignoring it. It's just that we're in a certain situation where we can't fully obey what it says. You understand what I'm saying? Anyway, let me go ahead and hit the comment board. Loving Christian said, you should see the things Asians eat. They eat bugs. Yeah, I've seen it. Now, let me say this. Some of the bugs they eat are actually lawful, like locusts. And that's in the book of Leviticus, the 11th chapter. There's certain insects that we're allowed to eat, but there's certain ones we're not supposed to eat. Like the Chinese, right? They're out there eating octopus, crawfish, clams, and then, the octopus, they eat them alive. So, I mean, which let me say this. For those who are watching, I'm not, just rambling on. I'm just having some fun. You know what I'm saying? We're supposed to always have a little bit of a fun with our, with this truth. Okay. But we're all, we're dealing with the subject of, adulthood and the teenage myth. Now I want to mention the teenage myth real quick, because someone might read that and say, "Oh, what's that talking about? The teenage myth? Well, what do you mean?" Well, the teenage myth is let me first say this. Go ahead on YouTube, which we're already on YouTube. Look at the top bar, right where you search, the search bar, and look up the book by the name of Teen 2.0 by Dr. Robert Epstien. Okay? Go ahead and give that book a listen. And if you can, go on the Google Play Store, if you have that, and you can download the book for $10 and either listen to the audiobook or just read it yourself. And if you got money, you can go on Amazon and buy Teen 2.0. Okay? Once again, I'll spell it for you. It's capital Teen, then 2.0. Okay, looked it up at the book section on the Amazon shopping website. Okay, and you'll find the book on there. You can buy it for, I've seen it around $6 to $20, whether you want it used or, brand new. Okay, very good book. And basically, a quick summary of the book is basically Dr. Robert Epstien. We'll just call him Robert Epstien. So I also mentioned he's a Harvard-trained psychiatrist. I'll mention that as well. Freethinker said, I've got the paperback. Amazing book. Yeah, let me say this, Freethinker. Hey, look, man, I'm trying to get the paperback. I'm trying to save up a little bit of extra, cash, which, obviously isn't easy to do in this society. Kind of like an inside joke. And what's his name? Andrew Ashby knows what I'm talking about. That damn devil demon knows what I'm talking about. But anyway, enough of him. But yeah, man, I've been trying to work on getting the actual physical paper book. Another book as well I want to mention real quick and give a shout out to is a book by the name of The Most Dangerous Superstition by Larkin Rose. Once again, that's The Most Dangerous Superstition by Larkin Rose. And this time, this book is actually available on YouTube, the full audiobook. A 10-hour long audiobook. It's a 10 out of 10 book. I've listened to it 5 times already. Highly recommend that any of you Wakium out there look that book up and give it a listen. Once again, The Most Dangerous Superstition by Larkin Rose. Which he's also the author of a few other books, such as The Iron Web, Parasites on Parade. Okay, and there's one other book out there that he did, other than the Most Dangerous Superstition. But that one's escaped my mind for now. But anyway, getting back to Teen 2.0. Let me just go ahead and answer this question real quick. Let's see. Loving Christian said, I just wanted to say something GMS need to stop saying all white people can't get a tan. My dad's brother got a tan and he looks pure black. You would mistake him for a black guy, so I could have black in me. Okay, good. And as I said, brother, we go off of faith, okay? Because listen, you can't trace your DNA all the way back to that time. It's not possible. We just go off of the spirit. So it doesn't matter if you look like a damn, if you look as white as my garment, if you can sincerely believe in this gospel, then you can be saved, even though you look like an Edomite. Because you're gonna have people who look like Edomites. Let me correct myself. I didn't mean to say who are Edomites. I said who look like Edomites. who actually might receive salvation. Okay, so even though they look like this group of people, and the reason they look like it is because after, these thousands of years of black men laying with, a woman of the other heathen nations, after time, obviously the children are going to come out looking like all different skin colors. Okay, so just because they look like a certain skin color, it doesn't mean that they can't be saved. It doesn't mean that they're an Edomite just because they have white skin. There's plenty of examples of people. There's one GMS dude out there who did a video saying that his grandfather was a total black man. Okay, but then further on down the line, after his son had children, they ended up being white because they what's the word I'm looking for? Because they slept with a woman of the heathen nation. All right, it's very simple. Okay, very simple indeed. Let's see. So as I was saying about Teen 2.0, basically a quick summary of the book is basically that adolescence is a 20th century invention. Now, I don't know all the dates and everything, but from my knowledge of what I do know, that the myth of adolescence was created around the First World War. Okay, because what they needed is also as well, it goes back to the Industrial Revolution. Okay, because before that you had children out there, or so-called children, on the workforce. Okay, it was common to go and work in factories at 10, 13, 14, 15 years old. Okay, that was common. Which now they because of the Industrial Revolution, they invented something called the child labor laws. Okay, which is all bullshit in itself. Okay, excuse my language. But anyway, now they have it to set where, you can't work if you're, say you can't work until you're 16. Some places 15. All right, but that's all nonsense. There's no reason why a person who's, let's say, 13, 14, they can't work. Why can they not work? Oh, it's the law. It's the law. As in somebody just wrote it down on a piece of paper and call it the law. There's no evidence to support the threat by the rich, as Larkin Rose would call it. As I said, man, you brothers got to do some research into that, man. He's absolutely phenomenal with his intelligence. Slovakia. Freethinker said, it was invented by psychologist. Yes, G. Stanley Hall. I was going to mention that a little bit. G. Stanley Hall was one of the pioneers, I guess one could say, of the myth of adolescence. You can go ahead and look him up on the Wikipedia. Look up capital G Stanley Hall. Okay, and you can do your research, or I should say due diligence, inside joke, on that man. Okay. But yeah, before that, going back prior to the Industrial Revolution, and really, going back to the 1800s, everybody believed that you became an adult when you hit puberty. It was just a global fact. Everybody accepted it as truth. Every civilization and every kingdom accepted it as being fact. It wasn't until the early 1900s that this new lie came around. That these people, they're not mature enough. They got a problem with their brain. Now think about this real quick. Who is going to benefit from this lie? Who's going to benefit from this lie? Let's go ahead and talk about this real quick, about who benefited from the lie, the myth of adolescence. Let's take in, for example, the drug companies. Because remember, we're talking about just about pretty much over 100 years of history right here. Okay, we're talking about 100 years of history. Okay, these companies gaining this wealth off of this lie. Okay, there's more companies than you would think. Okay, there's more companies than you would think. The clothing industry makes an absolute killing off of clothing lines for so-called teens. Okay, and why is that? Because even as Larkin Rose said in his book, you got this group of people who basically they get money since they don't have to pay bills or nothing. They just waste their money away. All right, and that's what a lot of them do. Okay, they just buy useless shit that they don't need. That's what happens. Okay, so these what's the word I'm looking for? Companies and organizations, I guess one could say, get themselves filthy rich off of this lie. Once again, the clothing industry, the magazine industry, right? Now the entertainment industry, the pharmaceutical industry. Let's not even get started on that. The education industry. Okay, those are, I mentioned 5 there, and that 5 is an understatement. I mean, we really cannot even sit here and mention the amount of companies that are benefiting off of this lie. And I would say, and this is just my estimate, I would say that this lie alone, the teenage myth as I call it, the myth of adolescence, I would say that since, once again, we're talking about 100 plus years of history right here, and if we tie all these companies together, I'd argue and say they've made at least $1 trillion off of this lie. $1 trillion. And that's an understatement. $1 trillion would be an understatement off of this great myth, the myth of adolescence. Okay? And $1 trillion, just a quick breakdown, if you take 1 million 1,000 times, that's a billion. Now, if you take 1 billion 1,000 times, that equals 1 trillion. Okay, so I would say that $1 trillion would be an understatement for the amount of money that this lie has made people absolutely filthy rich. These great industries, and we already mentioned them. Okay, and you got to understand as well. At the head of these industries, you always got the top dudes who are making all this boatload of cash off this suffering, man. Okay, that's why you read in the book of Revelation. Let me even go ahead and get that real quick. Okay, he even mentions this in Revelation. Bear with me a second. Let me find it. Okay. You know what? There's actually a lot of good scriptures right here I want to get. And you see, this is how you read the Bible. Okay, you got to go precept upon precept to get the understanding of the scriptures. What is that? Isaiah 28:10 for precept must be here, little and there, little, line upon line. Bear with me a second. Let's see. Just want to get this because this is some good information right here. If any of you, Akim, on the comment board have anything to say about the subject, feel free to throw it up. Let's see. Just got to look this up. Okay. Okay. This is the book of Nahum, chapter 1, and let's read down to verse 5. Nahum, chapter 3, and verse 1. Woe to the bloody city! It is full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not. The noise of a whip, and the noise of the rattling of wheels, and the prancing horses and of the jumping chariots. The horseman lift up the bright sword and the glittering spear. And there is a multitude of slain, and a great number of carcasses, and there is none of their corpses. They shall stumble upon their corpses, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcraft, that sells nations through her whoredoms, and families through her witchcraft. Let's read that again. Verse 4. Because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcraft, that sells nations through her whoredoms, and families through her witchcraft. Behold, I am against thee, says Yahweh of hosts, and I will discover thy skirt upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame. Now let's go ahead and go to the book of Revelation real quick. All right, Revelation chapter 18, and let's go ahead and start at let's start at verse. This is all good. Let's actually start a little bit above, just to get some of this merchandise. Okay, Revelation 18 and verse 14. And the fruits that thou soul hast lusted after, they are departed from thee. And all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee. And thou shalt find them no more at all. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city, that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, for in 1 hour so great riches as came to naught. And every shipmaster, and all the company in ships and sailors, and as many as traded by the sea, they stood afar off and cried, when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like to this great city? And they cast dust on their heads, and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city, where we were made rich, all that had ships in the sea, by reason of her costliness, for in 1 hour is she made desolate. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for Yahweh hath avenged you on her. And a mighty angel took up a stone, like a great millstone, and he cast it into the sea, saying, Lest with violence should that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. And the voice of harpers, and musicians, and pipers, and trumpeters shall be heard no more at all in thee. And no craftsman, of whatsoever craft he be, shall be found any more at all in thee. And the sound of a millstone shall be heard no more at all in thee. And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee. And the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth. For by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. And in her was found the blood of prophets and of saints and of all who were slain upon the earth. Right. But I want to read that one part again. Revelation chapter 18 and verse 23. And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee. And the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth. For by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. Yeah, so this teenage myth is a sorcery. All right, it's a sorcery that was created to make this country filthy rich. Okay, this artificial. It's an artificial extension of childhood, is what it is. Okay, and again, my question would be to anybody who disagrees with this teaching. My question would be that if you do your research, they teach that maybe 300,000 years men have been upon the earth. Some say a couple million, but some say 300,000. So let's just say 300,000, but it could be a couple million. Differs on the what's the word I'm looking for? Differs on the I'm looking for the correct word. The source that you're using. Okay, but let's just say 300,000, give or take a few years. With that being said, if the adolescence was actually a real phenomenon, right, between childhood and adulthood, well, why have they only figured this out over the last 100 years? I mean, literally think about that. What is 100 years in human history compared to 300,000 years? That is literally just a penny in the ocean, man. Not even. I mean, that is just... It shows you, man. It shows you. This is just a myth, a modern invention of the modern world. Okay? It's just a complete myth. It does not exist. All right? And as we've proven, these companies have made, I'd say, over the past 100 years, if we connect all these companies together, all the companies that benefit from this lie, I'd say that it has to be at least $1 trillion. At very least, it has to be. I mean, I'd even say that's an understatement for the amount of money this has created. Again, the clothing industry, the education industry, the medicine industry, the schooling industry, right? I think I might have said that twice. Entertainment industry. Oh, you can't forget about that, man. Including the music industry. All right, including even toy industries, man. Even they, like for example, the electronics, right? The electronics industry. Okay, so as I said, man, if we connect all these industries together, I'd say, as I said, I say it again, they've made at least $1 trillion over the past 100 years off this great myth. At least $1 trillion, and that's even an understatement for the amount of money this great lie has produced this country. Okay, let me go ahead and hit the comment board because I was talking for maybe 10-15 minutes on end. Let's see. Yeah, it was invented by psychologist G. Stanley Hall. As we said, we already went over that. Oh, you got a troll in here. I'm not gonna block you. You got freedom of speech here. I don't block you unless you're making, death threats towards other users, not myself included, because scriptures speak about, and we go forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Okay, so hey, we're we're open and welcome to these trolls. Free Thinker 101 said drunk companies profit off the distress in the teen years caused by the infantilization in society, and then tried to say that distress is caused by some new mental disorder that needs treatment. Exactly. And let me say this, man. I've actually been to mental asylum before. Okay, I know firsthand what these people are there to do. They're there to put you on medication to make you think that you got, for example, people are in the age range of 13 to 18, right? Which you could throw 12 in there as well, because a lot of people come an adult at 12. With that being said, let me see, what was I gonna say? Yeah, you see, what they want to do is they want to put them all on medication. Okay, you see, I don't understand. Let me say this: they do understand. They do understand deeply that this isn't the real cause of it. It's not a mental issue. It's because the infantilization. Okay, the infantilization. That's what it is. Okay. Yep, as I said, treatment being set. Psychotic drugs. Yeah, exactly. And as I said, man, even when we read in Revelation, right? All these nations, they became rich off of America's delicacies. And why is that? Because they bring these merchandise, like for example, electronics, cars, clothing, food. They bring that to this country on merchant ships. Okay? It's all brought here to Babylon on merchant ships. Okay? Not all of it, but a vast majority of what is sold here comes from across the world. Okay? By way of cargo ships. Let's see. Living Christian said, me friend, that's talking about you getting cut by the scriptures. The scriptures. Just joking. Hey, as I said, man, you always gotta you always gotta throw some jokes in there, man. You always gotta have some fun. But yeah, man, no, the scriptures. Gotta, always popular for my little sayings. Another thing as well. I was mentioning earlier that I finished the novel It by Stephen King. Another thing as well, which this is actually a spoiler alert for anybody who wants to read that book. So you might want to mute it for maybe 2 minutes. Anyway, in the book, when they were, adolescents, I guess one could say, the way they beat Pennywise for the first time, right, is after they were able to defeat him, they ended up being lost in the sewer system. And their names, for those who don't know who the Loser Club is, basically, let me see if I can remember all the names. I believe it's Stan, Eddie, Beverly, Bill, let me think, Mike, Richie, and I believe Ben is the last one. There's 7 of them. Let me go ahead and just real quick. All right. So yeah, anyway, what they done is, which, hey, Loving Christian said, I've seen both movies. Yeah, I mean, I got both the movies, but let me say this, the book is better than the movie, man. The movies are great, absolutely great. But, the book is different. Okay, but anyway, as I was saying, they ended up, the way they were able to escape the sewer system, right, is Beverly, she ended up having sex with all of them. There was basically a gangbang down there. And, people always criticize Stephen King for, why'd you put that inside the book? That's like some type of a pedophile. That's some type of like pervertedness right there. You know what I'm saying? But he admit, yeah, when I wrote that novel, I was on, some type of, cocaine. And even if you watch, if you watch the ERB battles, right? ERB, um, Nice Peter and Epic Lloyd. If you know who those are, then that's good. But anyway, if you look up ERB, right, and you watch Pennywise versus the Joker, even they even threw that line in there, man. Hey, your offer was a high on crack when he read your book. Just always got to throw that side stuff in there. Anyway, let's see. But yeah, the loser club was able to escape Pennywise the first time. Um, and I'm very surprised they let him actually put that in the book because if you ask what was his name? I like this brother. He's an atheist, but he has some type of intelligence. Um, I believe his name is D. McClung. D. McClung. Which he teaches at adolescence is a myth as well. So I respect that man for his intelligence. Um, but he said that he tried to make a book that there was a scene where people who were under the magic number, right, 666 or 18, because 18 is 666. The proof of that is you take 6 plus 6, which equals 12, but then you add 6 to 12, which equals the number 18, so you got 666. But anyway, he had two people in the book who, lay down with each other under 18. So they told him, well, we can't publish your book because that one scene. And he refused to change it. He said, okay, well, I'm leaving it there. I'll just find someone else to publish my book. Okay, so I'm surprised they let Stephen King go ahead and put that in there. Because they were like 11. Some of them were 12, but a lot of them were 11 when they had sex. Which again, you could become an adult at 11 years old. Okay, it could happen at 11. Okay, you could hit puberty at 11. Okay, the average is from 11 to 14, which 12 is the average, but it could happen at 11. Okay, it's just a fact. Let's see. Okay, let's go ahead and get some scriptures that deal with the biblical age of consent. Okay, let's get the main scripture that guys like to just cherry pick around. All right, they like to dance around it. These brothers, I said before, these brothers, and loving Christians know who I'm talking about. These brothers be tap dancing around these scriptures like the bottom half of Betty Ripson. Shout out to anybody who knows who that is. um, anyway, let's go ahead and get the book of 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians, chapter 7 and verse 36. But if any man thinks that he behaves himself uncomely towards his virgin, if she pass the flower of her age, and need so require, let him do what he will, he sinneth not, let them marry. Now let's read that again. 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 36. But if any man thinks that he behaves himself uncomely towards his virgin, if she has passed the flower of her age, and need so require, let him do what he will, he sins not, let them marry. Now what is this talking about? You got guys out there talking about, oh, that's talking about 18, that's talking about 18. Okay, and what evidence can you give of that? None. There's none evidence. None, zero, nada, inside joke. But even if you look up on Google, right, Elder Apostle Gabar pointed this out in his video. If you look up the term flower of her age, right, if you look up this online, they'll even tell you that the flower of her age is when a woman or a girl has her first menstrual cycle. They even tell you this on Google. Okay? Google even tells you, I'll say it again, and that'll be it. Google even tells you, if you look up the term flower of her age, it literally says that the flower of her age is a girl's first period. Okay? So, hold on real quick. Got a response. Here, hold on. Gotta respond to a text message real quick. What was I about to say? Yeah, when you deal with this scripture, right, 1 Corinthians 7:38, basically, this is referring to a woman's period, okay, a woman's first period. And as I said, Google even tells you this when you look the word up, okay? So you see, these guys who disagree with this, like you had a talk show out there, forget the name of it. It was, I believe it was the LUIC talk show. They were basically coming at GMS to, for teaching, and that's talking about, girls when they're around, 12, 13, 11 years old. Okay? Now, keep in mind, they cannot actually prove what they teach. They just want to sit there and talk shit. But then they can't actually give information to back up their statements. They only, this is what we believe because that's what we believe. You guys are going off because we don't like what you're saying. And that's what they do. So you see, they choked on the bones of the scriptures. Okay, it's the scriptures spiritually speak of meat and bones. Okay, you have to take them both for the scriptures. You have to take the good and you have to take the bad. Okay, you have to take both of them together, man. Okay, the meat and the bones. That's what we take. Okay, and it's spiritual. Okay, it's not talking about actual milk. Like I got milk right next to me right here. Actually, let me take a swig of that real quick. But it's not talking about, drinkable milk. It's just talking about the simple things of the scriptures, such as the gospel. But then you got the darker things, such as Revelation, or the parables of Christ, or Yahushua. Which the flower of her age was just a dark parable. It's a dark saying, okay? It was just, everybody would know what that is 500, 600, 700 years ago. Everybody knew what that is. And even here in America not too long ago, it was, families would celebrate a woman's first menstrual cycle because that's her, welcomeness or her welcome into womanhood. And it's just a fact. There's no information and no proof that 18 is when you become an adult. That's just a custom a rich man wrote on a piece of paper, and they call it the law. But it is not actually provable fact. It is invalid information. Someone just made it up, but it has no factual proof to support its authenticity. Okay? It's just nonsense that someone made up. Okay, as I said, the age of consent, which really it's not an age as, Love and Christian said, it's just a time. The real age of consent is sexual maturity according to the Bible and human nature. And anybody who disagrees, if you deal with science, right, science teaches that, for one, that we evolved from animals, right, from monkeys, or apes for that case. Now, if this is the case, right, we'll say we're animals. So if we're animals, but yet if we look at every other animal on the face of the earth, every other creature, once they hit puberty, right, sexual maturity, they begin to have sex. So why is it different for a human being if we are animals as well? And then, they'll go on a little rant and, this is why, that's why, this is why. Talk so much, but they know so little. Like that one dude out there, Dreadlord, or the Southern Israelite, as he calls himself. That brother, I haven't seen a sucker that soft since Banicula. Right? He don't know much, man. Damn clown on there talking about the Vatican's Babylon. So he don't know too much. Damn fool, man. The word fool means unlearned, so that brother's completely unlearned. Has a lack of intelligence. Or one time, man, just a quick fun story. One time I went on there, when he was on there with his other buddies on there, I threw a joke at him that all of them knew what it was talking about, but he was like, oh, well, what do you mean by that? I told him on there that I have been hit by a few shells, but now I'm walking with ligma. Now I said that a Dreadlord got a bad case of ligma. So then he got made fun of by his fellow co-host. But yeah, he didn't even know what ligma was. So, and that brother, as I said, man, he don't know too much. That brother don't know too much. On there talking about the Vatican's Babylon. Damn fool, man. saying that a spirit don't exist. That guy is just that brother is like a damn comedian. He should be a comedian, just like that one brother Rich Beaks. They should both be comedians. Anyway, I digress. I want to get into some information here. I'm going to go to the book of Leviticus, okay? Now, I'm going to prove to you, for anybody who disagrees, we're going to show in the scriptures undeniable proof where it clearly mentions that this flower is talking about a period, okay? So anybody who disagrees, well, we're going to prove you to be incorrect. All right, now we're going to go back to the book of the law, okay? We're going to go back to Leviticus chapter 15, and bear with me a second. You know what? We're actually going to read. Let's see. We want the whole thing. Okay. You see, it was a very serious thing in the ancient world, which it still should be today. But again, the world is under the vibration of the wicked. Hey, people like to have sex when a woman's on her period, which is just nasty and vile. Which we're not even supposed to be dealing with a woman for about a whole week when she's had her menstruation. Okay? That's what the scriptures teach. Okay? So, it shows you how far gone our people are. Anyway, Leviticus chapter 15, verse 19. And if a woman have an issue, and her issue in her flesh be blood, she shall be put apart 7 days. And whosoever toucheth her shall be unclean until the evening. And everything that she lies upon in her separation shall be unclean. Everything also that she sitteth upon shall be unclean. And whosoever toucheth her bed shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the evening. And whosoever toucheth anything that she sat upon shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the evening. And if it be on her head, or on her bed, or on anything whereon she sitteth, when he toucheth it, he shall be unclean until the evening. And if any man lie with her at all, and her flowers be upon him, he shall be unclean 7 days, and all the bed whereon he lieth shall be unclean. And if a woman have an issue of her blood many days out of the time of her separation, or if it run beyond the time of her separation, all the days of the issue of her uncleanness shall be as the days of her separation. She shall be unclean. Every bed whereon she lieth all the days of her issue shall be unto her as the bed of her separation. And whatsoever she sitteth upon shall be unclean, and as the uncleanness of her separation. And whatsoever toucheth these things shall be unclean, and shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the evening. But if he be cleansed, if she be cleansed of her issue, then she shall number to herself 7 days, and after that she shall be clean. Right, but the point of the matter is this verse right here. Not First Corinthians, Leviticus 15 and 24. And if any man lie with her at all, and her flowers be upon him, he shall be unclean 7 days, and all the bed whereon he lie shall be unclean. Now, it clearly uses the word flowers here. So, logically, the flower of her age is talking about a woman's period. There is no way around it. I mean, it clearly is that simple. Okay, so if you can't get it, well, hey, you better check yourself, because that's clearly what it's talking about. We'll go back to it. 1 Corinthians 7:36. But if any man thinks that he behaves himself uncommonly towards his virgin, if she pass the flower of her age, and need so require, let him do what he will, he sinneth not, let them marry. So, it's very clear what the scriptures are talking about. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to go to the book of, actually I'll give it as a little bit of a surprise. Because a lot of guys don't know about this verse. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Ezekiel. Okay, we're at the book of Ezekiel now. All right, Ezekiel chapter 16. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna read it verbatim first. We're gonna read it for what it says, and then we're gonna go over it and explain what it's talking about. Okay? Now I'm gonna start above where I want to get. The main point is in the 7th verse down to the 8th verse. That's the main point of why I came here. But however, I am going to start from the first verse, and we're going to read down to the 8th verse, okay, just to get an understanding of the whole concept, okay. Ezekiel chapter 16 and 1, and again the word of Yahweh. Let me grab a pen real quick just to keep my place. Again, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, cause Jerusalem to know her abominations, and say, Thus says Yahweh unto Jerusalem, Thy birth and thy nativity is of the land of Canaan. Thy father was an Amorite, and thy mother an Hittite. And as for thy nativity, and the day when thou was born, thy navel was not cut, neither was thou washed in water to supply thee. Thou was not swaddled at all, not salted at all, nor swallowed at all. None I pitied thee to do any of these things unto thee, to have compassion upon thee, but thou was cast out into the open field, into the loathing of thy person, in the day when thou was born. And when I passed by thee and saw thee polluted in thine own blood, I said unto thee, When thou was in thy blood, live. Yea, I said unto thee, When thou was in thy blood, live. I have caused thee to multiply as the bud of the field, and thou hast increased and waxen great. Thou art come to excellent ornaments. Thy breasts are fashioned, and thy hair is grown. Whereas when thou was naked and bare, now when I pass by thee, and look upon thee, behold, thy time was the time of love. And I spread my skirt over thee, and covered thy nakedness. Yea, I swore unto thee, and entered into a covenant with thee, says Yahweh, and now becamest mine. Now let's read verse 7 and 8 again. So now we understand that this is basically the Lord comparing the nation of Israel to a little girl growing up to becoming a woman. Okay? Now when did Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai take this girl as his wife? When did he take her to be his? When she hit sexual maturity. I'm going to read it. We're going to read it again. And this clearly is what it's talking about. No way around it. Ezekiel 16 and 7. I have caused thee to multiply as the bud of the field, and thou hast increased and waxen great. Thou art come to excellent ornaments. Thy breasts are fashioned. What does the word fashion mean? Basically, appears. Okay? They're there now, when they weren't before. And thine hair is grown. What hair is that talking about? That's not talking about the hair on your head. That's talking about, as they call, a pubic hair. Okay? So let's read that part again. Thy breasts are fashioned, and thy hair is grown, whereas when thou was naked and bare, now when I passed by thee, and looked upon thee, behold, thy time was the time of love. And I spread my skirt over thee, and covered thy nakedness. Yea, I swore unto thee, and entered into a covenant with thee, says the Lord Yahweh, and now became mine. So the Lord compared Israel to a little girl growing up to being a woman, and he clearly took this woman as his own when she hit puberty. So how can you guys out there who disagree with this teaching, how can you get around that? There is no way around it, man. There is no way around it. It clearly is in scriptures. Okay, I mean, it's evident at this point, right? Hey, it's easy peasy to understand now. But pretty much that's going to wrap up our discussion on the great teenage myth and the myth of adolescence. Okay, we streamed, I envision it to go around 2 hours, so it looks like we're at 2 hours now. So real quick, again, I want to issue out a challenge to anybody who disagrees with this teaching. Anybody who disagrees, will you please make a video and disprove the information that has been presented in this stream. Okay. Also want to say this: if anybody made it this far into the video, go ahead and put hashtag ETT in the comment section down below this recording. I'm not talking to you guys who are on there watching live right now. Okay, so anybody who's watching this, go put hashtag ETT in the comment board if you made it this far into this lesson. With that being said, I want to say if anybody would like to share this video and re-upload this video to their YouTube page, you have my permission. I ask if you can please leave a link to my YouTube page in the description box. But other than that, you are free to use this video however you like to, sharing it to any social media, websites, or your YouTube page. Feel free to do so. As I said, just put my channel in the description box down below. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up this whole discussion on the age you become an adult and the myth of adolescence. You become an adult when you hit sexual maturity, off very definition alone before we even get into evidence. And the age of consent, or the myth of adolescence, well, adolescence doesn't exist. It was just an invention in the early 20th century. Once again, I want to give shout outs to a book by the name of Teen 2.0 by Robert Epstien. Also want to give a shout out to the book by the name of The Most Dangerous Superstition by Larkin Rose. Pretty much that's going to wrap up our discussion for today. Now I want to end it off with a couple scriptures real quick. So bear with me while I find them. Okay. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 40 and verse 7. Then said I, Lo, I come in the volume of the book, it is written of me. So Christ comes in the volume of the whole Bible. Okay, the whole book is the scriptures. Okay, the whole book is the gospel. Okay, the whole book is what we deal with. I see Love and Christian just got back. What were you talking about when I was in the shower? Hey man, you can go back and watch that, man. We basically went through all the breakdown of 1 Corinthians 7:36 and prove what it was speaking of. I'm pretty much closing out now, so you can go back and rewatch that. It was only maybe 20 minutes or so that you missed, not too much. Nothing major happened. Anyway, Revelation chapter 22 and verse 18. I testify unto any man that hears the words of the prophecy of this book. Now listen here. It says the prophecy of this book. Now this is referring to anything of the scriptures. All right. If you teach anything that's going off from what the scriptures are saying, well, there's going to be a correction depending on how what the topic is. It will lessen or worse the punishment. Okay, some will receive stripes. Some will receive damnation. It's just whatever Yahweh Shem Yahshai sees fit for that teaching. Okay, anyway, Revelation 22 and 18. For I testify unto any man that hears the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, Yahweh shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. Yeah, so if you're on there saying that the flower for age is not talking about a menstrual cycle, but it's talking about 18, or when she's, past childbearing years, you're taking away from the prophecy of the book. Now it says prophecy, but that's really referring to anything of the scriptures. Because again, we read in Psalms 40th chapter that Jesus said, I come in the volume of the whole book. Okay, verse 19. If any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, Yahweh shall take away his part out of the book of life, and out of the holy city, and from the things which are written in this book. Yeah, so if you take away from what these scriptures are talking about, well, then you're going off. It's that simple. And I hit the comment board real quick. Free Thinker 101. Here's some interviews with Dr. Robert Epstien, author of Teen 2.0, for anybody who is interested in learning more about this topic. Free Thinker 101, if you can, when this stream is done, if you can put that in the comment board down below, that'd be very helpful. preaching the truth for Yah, or 11 Christians said, we will have people saying, oh, the God of the Old Testament is Satan. Oh, yeah, man, yeah, I mean, I got 3 people who come to mind. You got Hidden Manna, you got Keith, and you got that brother out there, Rich Beaks. They all teach that Satan is the God of the Old Testament. Those brothers, they don't know too much, man. As I said, they're hopscotching around these scriptures like the bottom half of Betty Ripson. Alright, but anyway, I hope that was an edifying lesson. With that being said, I'm going to give all praises and honor to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai for this truth. With that being said, I'm going to say shalom.